And
okay, our audio should be working now. I'm going to do this again because you had video but no audio. Thanks for letting us know, Stephanie and Bill and everyone else who's on the live stream. So the video live stream, sometimes it's a little complicated. If you heard Dave Deutsch, the president and general manager of our stations, yesterday, he said the video component of this is getting a remake, a redo. So part of it is because I can't press the buttons in the right timing sequence.
So they're hiring another person, huh?
No, they're just going to get better technology. They're going to replace it with AI.
To say yes.
Something along those lines. So welcome to the video live stream again. And for those of you who don't know, we're on YouTube, Facebook, and X every weekday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. If you ever miss the show, you can go back and watch it on Facebook. But we have a special guest who is in here today. Bret's been anxious for this all week. I've been excited about it. Greg Schaefer, former men's head basketball coach for St. Joseph High School, the Bears. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
It's good to be here. I'm doing well.
Yeah. What's happening this morning?
Well, Bret got me out of bed early this morning. That's what happened.
That's right. You're out of school. You're up early every morning. You're just not watching film today.
No, I'm not breaking down film today.
I mean, if you hadn't announced your retirement 2 weeks ago today, what would you be doing today? Anything related to basketball?
Well, we usually didn't run our youth camp on Fridays.
Okay.
So we wouldn't have youth camp, but a lot of times we were heading out of town for a weekend shootout or team camp or something like that. So
okay.
We don't have that on the summer schedule for this weekend, but a lot of weekends we would.
Okay. So basketball all year round.
Yeah, definitely all year round.
Well, that makes sense. And you were a good team. Your winning record shows it.
Yeah, we had really good players to work with and just had a lot of fun with it over the years.
All right. Well, we're going to come back and have you do a formal introduction of who you are in just a moment. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Thank you for suffering through our technical difficulties once again. We'll be right back.
To-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote 1-800-670-5151. That's 1-800-670-5151. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-670-5151. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Partly to mostly sunny skies today and a little cool. We're going to stay at 70 inland. We'll be in the 60s at the beaches today. The winds are still quite breezy. You'll see still red flags and big waves at the lakeshore. Clear skies tonight down to 55. And tomorrow partly sunny with an afternoon chance of rain and highs in the low 70s. I'm meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
And happy Friday. It's another beautiful one out today, as you heard Carrie Peugeot and the weather forecast. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, we think. And I was looking at the extended forecast. It looks like we're going to see beautiful week, not even a slight chance of showers early next week. It's just going to be partly sunny.
I only ran my sprinkler one time all year.
Just one time?
Yeah.
Was that by accident?
No. It was probably early May or something. But last year at this time, we were pretty dry, I remember.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well. But right now we have a special guest in studio. Why don't you give him a proper introduction, please?
So very fortunate to have now retired head coach Greg Schaefer from St. Joe. Originally started at Otsego and then came down to St. Joe. He's been on our coaches show for 19 years, coming on every Saturday, every other Saturday and doing that. And figured we'd allow him a chance to come in and talk about his career. And
absolutely.
Just kind of wrap it up for him from that perspective, even though he still is going to be active. Your middle school athletic director, correct? Over at Upton, too.
Yeah, so let's talk about you and your career, Greg. Thanks for joining us on the morning show. Coffee, water, tea, anything?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Okay, absolutely. So you were most recently the Bears head coach, and you had a record at St. Joe of Am I getting this right? 222 wins, 196 losses.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
That's pretty good. You're the winningest coach in Bears program history.
That's due to longevity.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
You stick around long enough, you can scratch together a few wins.
Well, I mean, I think let's reflect over your career. I mean, you got not more than just a few wins. You've got a lot of wins. How did you get into coaching basketball? Let's start at the beginning.
Well, basketball has been in my family for a long time, so kind of a natural fit for me to gravitate that way when you're thinking about what do you want to do with your life and what sounds like a good career path. So I played for my father, Jerry Schaefer, at River Valley High School. And
were you a Mustang?
I was a Mustang, absolutely.
All right.
And so, I got an early introduction to basketball and could not have had a better mentor, not only as a basketball player and then eventually a coach, but just as a person. My dad, his record speaks for itself.
Yes.
But he was an even better person than he was a coach. And then on top of that, an even better dad and husband than, he was as a professional. So, very fortunate that I had that experience growing up. I basically never remember not being in a gym.
Wow.
If you can believe that, because we would all tag along with him when he was doing his coaching thing at the different places he was at. Then I went on and played for Coach Dick Schultz at Kalamazoo Valley Community College. And he's another Hall of Famer that's just a fantastic person and coach. I student taught at Grand Haven for my uncle Al Schaefer, who also is in the Hall of Fame as a coach.
Wow.
Another great person who really knows the game. So I just have been around the game my entire life and really just was blessed to have a chance to lead my own program at Otsego first for 8 years, then come over to St. Joe, had an 11-year run. Took a little bit of time off and jumped into the college game a little bit. I helped out Coach Schultz the last 2 years that he was coaching and helped his Cougars go to a national tournament. And then my brother Doug was coaching at Lake Michigan College, and I jumped in and helped him for 4 years. And we made a run to the national tournament when we were all together there. So I've just had tremendous experiences right from the get-go. And I can say that my favorite experiences were the 19 years that I had the honor to lead the St. Joe Bears for sure.
That is an amazing trajectory that you've had. I mean, there must be so many memorable moments along your coaching career. Are there some? Is there one that you can pull out as like, that was the moment? That's something that I'll always remember.
Well, I mean, it's really hard to just point out one moment. Really, for me, it was just the day in, day out interaction with the kids and my coaching staff, support staff, community at large. It was a true blessing to be part of that day in and day out. And those are the things that I recall most when I reflect on my career.
Yeah.
For you, how big was it? So when St. Joe moved from Class B / Division II to Division I, that changes postseason a lot.
Yeah.
And the outlook, just the reality of it. How big was it when you were able to win that Division I district a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I mean, that was a tremendous moment for our program and in the community and the players that were involved, coaches that were involved. So, if you're looking at a snapshot of a moment, that's going to be right up there for sure. And it was just a tremendous accomplishment because when you're in the Division I district and then tournament beyond, it's just a tremendous challenge to be good enough to even battle for a district title, let alone actually pull one out and win it. So that was a proud day for all of us, and the culmination of a lot of work. When you win a championship, it's that team won the championship, but the building blocks before it are part of it as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like all of our past players and coaches, they took pride in that accomplishment because they realized they were the building block pieces that got us to that point in that level of play. And so that was fun as well, to reflect on all the players before, all the coaches before, and just how we kept battling and working and, just trying to figure out how can we play at this level and have success, and then to accomplish that goal was a lot of fun.
I love how you post that as the program itself is a foundation, and we build on that. And every year you get a new team, as it were. And what are those things that what do you try to how do you get that across to the players of here's what we need to do and here's how we're going to do it?
Yeah, we're going to have certain foundation things that we're going to emphasize no matter what team we're working with. And my overriding philosophy every year I coached was revolved around teamwork.
Yeah.
And that was on both sides of the ball. If we commit to playing great team basketball on both sides of the ball, then I always felt like we were going to be competitive. And then if we ended up having, players that really invested in their preparation, then they not only were going to be competitive, but we're going to win our fair share. We'll challenge for titles. And that was always the goal. We wanted to make sure that we were in the mix year in and year out. And I was just so fortunate to have players that bought into that. They were willing to be dedicated pretty much year round to their sport, even though they still were multi-sport athletes. We never asked anybody to specialize and just play basketball, but they always found time to work on their craft and develop their athleticism. And then they brought that cooperative team first mentality to our program. And, the building block pieces before, they were always welcome in our program. They would come back and work with our players with different alumni scrimmages, or they were welcome at our open gyms if they were in town working or back from school. And so those guys, just by being around, they helped promote that team first concept as well.
The team aspect that you're emphasizing here. You watch college basketball, you watch pro basketball?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And is there a team element missing from the pros these days that we didn't have prior?
Well,
it seems like the defense is missing, but
yeah, I mean, honestly, there's some rules in the NBA that make it a little bit more of an one-on-one individual defensive situation at all levels. If you're looking for it, you see examples of great team play.
Okay.
At every level. And so when I'm watching basketball as a fan, I'm always paying attention to that. And it's really a lot of fun to see the game played that way at all levels, and now at the NBA Finals at the highest level.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that and more coming up next. It's the morning show. We're talking with Greg Schaefer. He's just retired from being the head basketball coach. Is this one going to stick? You say you were there. You were there once before you came back. Well, maybe
you would have to bring that up, wouldn't you?
We'll stick. We'll hold on to that question. We'll get the answer, we hope, out of Greg in just a few minutes. This is the WSJM Morning Show.
Loan rates are trending downward. Are you ready to make your move? Sturgis Bank's expert hometown lenders will guide you through the process and take.
All right. And for the folks on our live stream, some exclusive content. Is it going to stick this time?
I think so. I hope I'm smart enough to come back to basketball in a support role.
Why did you
not be the guy in charge?
Why did you decide now was the time to retire?
I just kind of an evaluation of my schedule. It's just a lot of work year round, and just started to feel a little bit worn down by my schedule. It had nothing to do with my love of coaching or working with kids or the group that's going through right now. I love the kids in our program right now, and that's honestly what I'm struggling the most with is that I'm trying to lighten my schedule, but the impact is I don't get to work with the kids directly that are still with us. And of course, that's going to be a dynamic no matter when you decide to retire. But that's what the reality is right now. And that's my biggest adjustment right now.
Okay.
What are you doing to fill your time now?
Well, I'm still fairly busy with my middle school aid. I'm working on trying to finalize my schedule for middle school sports next year. And next week I'll start working with Eben Sanders at First Tee. And I picked up caddying at Lost Dunes about 3 years ago.
Really?
So I might pick up a few more loops as a caddy. I got one this afternoon, as a matter of fact.
What do you do as a caddy? I mean, we've seen it on TV. I mean, the only thing I can think of when I think of caddies is Caddyshack.
Yeah, right.
Is it that wild? What's going on?
I don't think it's that wild at Lost Dunes, no. But honestly, you're just there to support your golfer or your group of golfers.
Okay.
So, you help with, distances that their next shot is going to be. Hopefully you're reading the greens correctly.
I didn't know you did that.
You're just there to support, honestly. And it's a lot of fun. You meet really interesting people and,
you're famous people.
The most famous person I caddied for a couple of falls ago, Friday afternoon, snuck out there after school, Matt Stegginga from Michigan State years ago. He played for the Bulls. I picked up his group, and he was a great guy.
Wow.
That was probably the most famous person. They give the really famous people to the more experienced caddies right
Can
now.
I give you a real quick famous person golf story? Is that a yes or no?
It's your show.
Oh. So I worked in Washington, D.C. as a reporter, and during August, it got slow because all the members of Congress are on recess. They're back in their districts doing work. And so I'd sneak out to the golf course. We called it a cow pasture. It was Haynes Point because it was just flat and it was just a lot of fun to hit balls. And the let's see, hit that next thing here. Oh, we've got to get back to the show. Here, hang on just a second. All right. Sorry, we were getting carried away talking on the other piece. I'll finish my story because we asked Greg, Bret asked Greg, what do you do with your spare time now? And the answer was golf and golf caddying as well, which led to a discussion of, so I snuck out of work on that August afternoon, went to go play 9 holes of golf at Haynes Point in Washington, D.C., and they don't like it when you go out as a single golfer, so they pair you up, and there's usually somebody pair up real quick. And I got paired up with a gentleman who, just run of the day person. And we went out and golfed. And by the 7th or 8th hole, we got to talking on, what do you do? What do you do? And when he found out I was a reporter at the time, he said, oh, well, and I said, well, who are you? And he said, you will know me soon. And I said, well, that's interesting because we're in Washington, D.C. and we're golfing. He gave me that answer. Turns out I had golfed 9 holes with none other than Ken Starr, who was about to launch the public inquiry into President Bill Clinton. So that was an interesting thing there. So, but anyway, we're talking with Greg Schaefer, and I just wanted to make sure that we finished that story because we were on the video live stream. You can always get exclusive content on the video live stream by going to Facebook, YouTube, or X. And in 30 seconds or less, what's the most important thing for a basketball player to know?
Well, I think you need to know that it's a team sport. So you take all of the skills and ability that you have and you blend it with the other people on the court and your other teammates that are on the overall team. And you do your very best to make it work as a group. It's not going to work unless you have that mentality. And I was just really fortunate to have year after year players that had that type of mentality.
And that's why you're a head coach, because of advice like that. Just a moment. We'll be back. You didn't get cut off too much. I had to bring up ABC News, but No, that was good. That was real good. Some of the other things that Bret, I want you to go next, but I do want to continue to delve into the coaching philosophy and then ask about, what decision will it be when you decide to come back, if you decide to come back. Boy, I gave you a win already. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask you about certain games. Is there any games that stick out to you? I mean, there's a lot of them. I get all that.
Yeah. Wow.
And what about, people talk about the St. Joe Lakeshore rivalry. Yeah. How is it living in that?
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody has an opinion on both sides. I'm sure you have a lot of assistant coaches that week.
And coming from the new WSJM newsroom, taking a look at some of the local news stories that we're following for you today. The police chase in Van Buren County last night landed a Watervliet man in jail after a high-speed pursuit. Van Buren County Sheriff Daniel Abbott reports that deputies were in the Bangor and Geneva Township area just before 6 o'clock last night looking for a vehicle that had just been stolen out of Covert Township. They located a vehicle matching the description in the area of County Road 380 and 62nd Street. They pulled over the driver, but while speaking with him, he accelerated away from police. Deputies initiated a pursuit. The vehicle fled south, reaching speeds of 100 miles per hour before the driver lost control of his truck and spun out at County Road 376 and 63rd Street. The driver ran from the vehicle, though deputies caught him. The suspect, 43-year-old man from Watervliet, was taken into custody without further incident. The driver is now lodged at the Van Buren County Jail on the charge of fleeing and eluding and will be facing other charges regarding vehicle theft. Berrien County Republican Party is planning a major gathering later this month, and the public is invited to attend. Party Secretary Victory Woodall tells us this event is called the Mega Saturday Candidate Forums. Organizers say it will feature an all-star panel of moderators who will ask questions of the area Republicans who are running in August primary races. Woodall says it will be an all-day event. They will have candidates for Berrien County Treasurer, Drain Commissioner, Sheriff, and County Commission. They'll also have state house candidates there and at least one candidate for the U.S. Senate. The event will be held at the St. Joseph Kickers Club, technically in Berrien Springs, but it could be in Arden as well, on June 29th. Doors open at 2 p.m. and the event starts at 3. It'll run till 9 o'clock with a break for lunch. Woodall says tickets are available now, $15 for general admission and $30 for VIP reserved seats. We'll have more on that coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. And then we'll also talk a little bit about some of the drug issues that are happening in the region. Federal charges related to a mass fentanyl poisoning event in Kalamazoo County last year have been announced by U.S. Attorney Mark Totten. Also a warning from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services about a new drug that's linked to 3 overdose deaths, one of those in Berrien County. That's a look at some of the local news that we are following for you today. We'll be back with more and our interview with Greg Schaefer, former basketball coach for St. Joe, coming up next.
Is there like a...
All right, we're back.
A police chase in Van Buren County every week now?
I think they do have that on the TV schedule, yes. No, it's unfortunate. I mean,
every week. Well, Monday
is it video games? Are people thinking they could just get away now with everything?
Well, they robbed the weed store in Lawrence on
Monday.
They
did, yeah, the pot shop.
Which is right next to the highway.
4 people. Did you hear about that story?
I didn't hear.
So, the marijuana dispensaries have really heavy security.
Yeah.
And so one of the owners or operators of a pot shop in Lawrence got an alert and looked on the cameras that were in his facility and saw 4 people inside stealing bags of marijuana, getting them out to their car. The alarms were tripped. The police responded. Everyone scattered. They caught 3 out of the 4 individuals through various means. We should probably do an update to see if they caught the 4th person, because I can't imagine his friends stayed quiet.
No, I can't imagine.
But yeah,
if they even remember what they were doing.
Yeah, but it is interesting. That's one of the things. If kids aren't playing sports, sometimes they're getting into trouble. You ever find that?
Sports are a great positive outlet for sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, because there's a lot of dedication, a lot of practice. How often are you dealing with issues off the court with any of your players?
For me, fortunately, not too often.
Nice.
We had really good kids to work with, and they were pretty focused on not only their athletic pursuits, but also being good students, good citizens. I mean, that was a requirement to be in our program, honestly. So if they didn't have that approach, they probably weren't around too long.
Yeah.
How is, or has it, the dealing with or handling of parents changed from when you started till now, or even when your dad's, was coaching?
I mean, I don't know about, back in the early years when my dad was coaching, but for my 27 years, I don't think it's been much different. The overwhelming majority are very supportive and kind of understand the process. And then if there is something that needs to be discussed, it's obviously just a different perspective on looking at the same situation, and you try to work through it the best you can, come out of it positive if possible. And but I think most parents, their hearts are in the right place, and the bottom line is everybody's looking out for their child. That's a natural instinct, and sometimes a coach has to make decisions for the good of the team that aren't so good for the individual, and that's when maybe you have to work through what's going on and why, and how can we move forward positively.
What about the dealing with social media now compared? Obviously, that's changed a lot.
I'm not on social media, so I claim ignorance on that side of it. We certainly discourage players to, go on social media and make outrageous statements that could fire up our opponent or put our program in a bad light. And while I'm not on social media, I've got plenty of assistants and athletic administrators that are, and unfortunately we didn't have much to deal with on that side of it.
Do teams ever like taunt each other on social media?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised on, kids going back and forth, but
I hadn't even thought about
they didn't
that.
bring me into the loop on that.
I mean, talking about parents and players, you're a mentor, you're a guide, you're a coach, and can you think of a player or a group of players that ever taught you something?
Oh man. Well, really,
I gave all these questions to Brett in advance.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No. I learned something from my players every day about just dedication, perseverance, cooperation. The one player that I learned the most from was Maddox Williams, my player that unfortunately passed away mid-season this year.
Yes.
Just an unbelievable person, great resiliency and toughness. It was a true blessing to have him in our program and part of our team last year.
For people who don't know, tell us about Maddox.
Well, Maddox was somebody that had been in our program forever. I mean, started out as a bitty bear in elementary school and in our middle school program. And his freshman year was diagnosed with some type of bone cancer and had to have one of his legs amputated. And then he was on this long journey of treatment to try and cure the disease. And unfortunately, in spite of all kinds of different heroic efforts to knock the cancer out of his system, it finally overtook him his junior year this past season. And just his journey through that experience and what we could learn as a program from him, is something I'll never forget.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and he was at our Lions Club tournament that Saturday, helping his brother. And then I think he passed away Sunday or Monday.
Yeah.
How do you keep that, thinking through Maddox's story and thinking about some of the outside impacts, influences on players, everything that's going on in their lives? How do you foster that positive team culture?
Well, you try to be there for everybody that you're working with. So, if you find out that somebody is going through a really tough situation, you want to be part of their support system. You want to help them get through it, and then encourage teammates and everybody else that's in the program to have the same type of approach.
Yeah.
So I was going to talk a little bit about the games and stuff. The St. Joe Lakeshore rivalry, which is probably
there's a rivalry there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
We had Mayor Brooke Thomas in earlier this week, and she went to Lakeshore, and now she's the mayor of St. Joseph. So she says it's incredibly tough for her at some of those games.
I imagine.
Well, it shouldn't be tough. They're who's paying her salary.
Very nice.
How was it for you as a coach leading up to that week in that game? Because it's not like something you just think about the day before.
Yeah. No, that game is on the back of your mind year round, basically. And it's just a lot of excitement. I'm so thankful that rivalry is part of both of our schools, both of our programs, because every once in a while you'll run across a school or a program that doesn't have a true rival like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even talked to some coaches that said, man, you guys are so fortunate to have that, because it creates fan interest and excitement and purpose, if you will, on trying to get better, trying to be good enough to compete against that other really good program. And so I was always thankful for the rivalry. And of course, I was from River Valley, and back in the day, River Valley and Lakeshore were in the same conference and knocking heads every year to try and be one of the better teams in the conference. So that rivalry came natural to me because it was such a big one when I was playing in high school. And then, St. Joe Lakeshore, it's at that same level, if not even bigger in terms of a rivalry. And so I jumped right into that with both feet when I came to St. Joe 26 years ago.
We're going to be talking a little bit more with Greg Schaefer. We've got him for a few more minutes. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We'll be right back.
27cash.com.
With our bad credit,
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Partly to mostly sunny skies today and a little cool. We're going to stay at 70 inland. We'll be in the 60s at the beaches today. The winds are still quite breezy. You'll see still red flags and big waves at the lakeshore. Clear skies tonight down to 55, and tomorrow partly sunny with an afternoon chance of rain and highs in the low 70s. I'm meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
It's been an extreme pleasure and honor to have you listening to the WSJM Morning Show, but also to have Greg Schaefer in, former Bears high school men's basketball coach, here with us this morning. And Bret Witkowski is here co-hosting with me today. Greg, we were talking a lot about how you approach the team, how you approach the game. What do you hope your players will take away from your time as head coach?
I hope the biggest takeaway is life lessons that make them successful beyond their experience playing basketball for St. Joe. So, if we can do our very best to compete at the highest level as basketball players, and then, apply those lessons to, what you're doing in school and how you're approaching or how you're conducting yourself out in the community. And then that parlays into, being successful as an adult.
Yeah.
Then we've been successful no matter what the scoreboard says at the end of an individual game or even a final season record. So that was always something that we emphasized from the get-go at every level. And really the kids that were on my varsity team, they displayed that. I mean, that was one of the reasons they were on that team. And just there's all kinds of success stories from kids that played basketball for us and have gone on to be successful in their careers and good family men and positive community members. And so I take a lot of pride in that when I think about all the great kids I had to work with, and then they became even better people later on. And if we could just be one small part of that, obviously their families are the most important in terms of having somebody turn out that way. But if what we emphasize in our program can help that process, then we feel like we were a success.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I was thinking about, Bret, when you suggested Greg as a guest to come in today, is coaching is, okay, the outcome is on the court there, but you also see that as a lifelong lesson of how to work in teams, how to know when you're accountable for what it is you need to get accomplished and that sort of thing. So what do you think should change in the game?
Oh man. I just hope everybody that's part of the game, we just remember, the reason that we got involved in the first place. Yeah. There had to be some type of spark that brought you to the gym, and, try to just always remember that love of the game that attracted you to it in the first place. Yeah. And hopefully we can create an atmosphere for our players and everybody that's part of the program and everybody that follows, the different teams and programs in the area. I hope we can always remember that it's a game that we love to be part of, and try to preserve that feeling as you go through it. And sometimes that can be a challenge because, everybody is pursuing, accomplishments and goals and trying to, and it's a hard game. You don't play it well easily. And so there's a process, and there are going to be ups and downs. And boy, if we can help people through the tough times, come out of it still loving the game and being the best that they can be, then if that's kind of an overriding goal, then probably you're going to be part of a really positive experience.
Player-wise, if you had to pick your top players that played for you,
I'm not doing
who are
that.
your favorite children? You have any favorite children? No.
Let's not go there. I was blessed to have so many really good players that I'm sure I would forget some that should be on the list. And so I don't want to go there.
Let's put it this way. How many have gone on to play college?
Quite a few.
Okay.
I've had a lot of guys that primarily have gone on to play small college basketball. And
any pro?
No, I've not had one that played at the professional level.
Okay. There's still time.
But the lot of really good players that have gone on to help programs beyond high school, and we've always been very proud of that.
Yeah. The SMAC conference is a tough basketball conference.
Yeah, for sure.
How was it coaching in that day and day? I mean, Campbell Central's won quite a few state titles when Benton Harbor was in the conference, etc.
It drives you to be better yourself. And, you keep thinking of, all right, so this is the level we've got to play at. How can we get there? And what do we need to do? And so that drives your off-season stuff that you're doing because that the teams that you're going to play against, those kids are playing all the time, and they're going to be really skilled, really good players, and you've got to make sure that the St. Joe Bears have that kind of skill level and that kind of dedication as well. But you mentioned the great teams that we are fortunate enough to play night in and night out. Number one, it made us better, because you're not going to have success on the scoreboard if you don't embrace the challenge of playing the best and actually, winning your fair share of games against the best. You were mentioning rivalries, and of course, Lakeshore St. Joe is a natural one. Another favorite of mine over the years was St. Joe Benton Harbor. And, when you're going up against Benton Harbor every year, you're talking about an elite program in the state, no matter whether they were in our conference or whether they were non-conference. And so that was an exciting challenge for me, to have an in-league rival like Lakeshore that we played twice a year. Originally, Benton Harbor was an in-league rival. Then, of course, we kept them on our non-conference schedule, and the excitement of that game was still there even when they weren't in our conference. And so I've always had tremendous respect for the people leading those programs. Right now, Coach Sterling at Benton Harbor, Coach Schrader at Lakeshore, Ramsey Nichols at Kalamazoo Central, Steve Wishman at Battle Creek Lakeview. These are some long-time coaches that I've had the honor of coaching against year in and year out, and they do a fantastic job with their programs. And I can honestly say we were better because of that challenge night in and night out.
That's amazing. We've got to get to our Moody on the Market update. 2 last questions.
Sure.
Number 1, you ever going to be a head coach again?
I hope I'm smart enough to be in a support role in basketball. The only reason I'm stepping aside right now is just the brutal schedule that, trying to get better and how can we get better as a program? It always involves time.
Right.
And so my schedule was starting to crush me, quite honestly. And so I felt like, at this stage in my life, I hope that I can transition into more of a support role, be part of the game, support kids, but not be the guy in charge, making all the tough decisions and absolutely living in the gym year round. So I don't know the answer 100%.
Yeah.
But I hope I'm smart enough to be somebody's assistant instead of being in charge.
Or wherever you are, people are fortunate to have you and your experience. And then the final question is, what are you doing now? You said you're still athletic director for the middle school.
Yeah. So I'm still a full-time teacher at the high school.
What are you teaching?
Health and PE.
Okay.
And I'm at the high school most of the day, and I have a couple of hours at Upton that then transitioned into my AD role. And that's going to keep me plenty busy. That's still a full day. So I'm looking forward to focusing on those things, and then I'll just keep my eyes open for my next opportunity as it relates to basketball. But before I close, I want to really thank my coaches that I've had the honor of working with all these years, my support staff. I mean, the people that I had the pleasure of working with year in, year out, day in, day out were fantastic and a big reason for our success over the years.
Greg Schaefer, the former Bears head coach, announced his retirement 2 weeks ago today as coach of the Bears. Winning record, 222 wins, 196 learning opportunities, and we're really fortunate to have you. So thanks for being in the community, and I expect we'll hear more from you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me on this morning.
Absolutely.
It's the 62nd year of the Krazel Art Fair on the Bluff, presented by First Source Bank Wealth Advisory Services. Saturday, July 13th and Sunday, July 14th, downtown St. Joe. Admission to the art fair is now free, but you can help support year-round access to the arts by making a donation during the event. Enjoy live music, brews, and great food at the Friday night block party July 12th on the Krazel grounds from 5 to 9 for just $5. Then come back Saturday, July 13th from 10 to 6 and Sunday, July 14th from 10 to 5 to explore the Bluff, featuring over 170 artists from across the nation. Enjoy the St. Joe Farmers Market on Broad Street and fun food trucks along Lake Boulevard, plus great free programming on the Art Center grounds. The Krazel Art Fair on the Bluff, presented by First Source Bank Wealth Advisory Services, with support from the City of St. Joseph, 98.3 The Coast, Roof Wiz, LKF Marketing, Mailmax, Pepsi, Signature Dealer Group, and the Southwest Michigan Tourist Council. Get more details at krazel.org. KRASL.org.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
And it's time for the Moody on the Market update. It's brought to you today by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And talking about small businesses, and the National Federation of Independent Businesses, the voice of small business. According to the latest NFIB monthly jobs report, a net 18% seasonally adjusted of small business owners plan to raise compensation in the next 3 months. Now, they say that that is down 3 points from last month and the lowest reading since March of 2021. Now, seasonally adjusted, a net 37% of owners reported raising compensation, down 1 point from April, but historically still very high. We talked about the wages and the pressures that those are presenting to the economy overall, and we'll be looking at the wage pressures in today's jobs report. But as far as the NFIB is concerned, Chief Economist Bill Dunkelberg said an exceptionally high number of small businesses are still struggling to fill open positions. And although plans to increase compensation have fallen a little bit, small firms continue in their efforts to attract and retain workers. You can read that full report and what that means for the local business outlook by going to moodyonthemarket.com. Moodyonthemarket.com. If you see any kind of business news that you want reported on or investigated, give us an email. Just go to the website, moodyonthemarket.com, and click on send us your story. The Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. We'll come back with more of the WSJM Morning Show in just a moment.
We're watching over you. IMS Insurance Management Service.
IMS understands that when you
Brett.
run a business.
What's that?
I am so far behind schedule right now.
How are you?
That was such a good conversation, though.
Yeah,
Thanks for arranging Greg to come in.
He does a good job.
Yeah, that was good. We're on the video live stream still, by the way.
Cool.
So just so you're aware. How many devices you got there?
Just dealing with work a little bit.
Oh boy, I thought this was your work. We got to get that clear. This is here. Get Coach back in here. Coach, teamwork.
You
All
know
right,
how it works.
I do. All right, we're going to end the live stream. Sorry for again the technical difficulties at the beginning. I swear I'm learning. I'm gonna be better. I am working on the fundamentals here. So we'll get that going. If you want to see the live stream in its entirety, we'll have it back up on Facebook in just a few minutes. Hope you enjoy your weekend. We'll see you back on Monday. Brett, you going to come back Monday? Oh, Brett, you stop it. Stop it. You better. Okay, thank you. Jeez, you're king of suspense there. All right. It's the morning show. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon.